So we're back here on the Duncan Duo show talking about the local real estate market. First segment of the show, we had Keith Harris, the Senior VP of Human Resources for the Tampa Bay Lightning, talking about player relocation and how hockey players relocate, some of the unique things that go on as a member of the HR department or as the leader of the HR department for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I want to roll next to another topic, and if you're listening to the show, you've probably looked at Zillow before, you've probably done the Zestimate of your home. But we've known that to be not entirely accurate all the time. There are parts of Tampa Bay where it's accurate. There are parts where it's not. And relying on an automated evaluation of your home just isn't the best path to it. And I'm sure we've got Arnie and David Diaz with the Diaz Duo at Waterstone Mortgage with us. And, you know, Arnie and David, how many times do you guys get people asking you about, well, hey, you know, the appraisal came in at this, but Zillow says my value is this?
Yeah, I mean, that happens a lot, and when we try to, you know, I think Zillow can be a great tool. I think it definitely can give you a gauge, but obviously it's a broad brush approach. You know, it's not the specific factors of your particular home versus everything. It's just, you know, what is the general idea of the neighborhood in most cases? And then you have some neighborhoods like, you know, say South Tampa that has all kinds of different size homes and everything, and you know, you're obviously not going to get an accurate response from that.
Right, and I think the other side of it that's interesting that people, you know, don't pay attention to, and Arnie, you can kind of touch on this too, is that it, like he says, it's a gauge. So if you look at your home's value and it says 200, and then next year it says 210, did your home value rise 5%? Probably, because I think they're really good at analyzing the data of appreciation and home values, you know, per se in a given neighborhood, but per specific home is where I think they lack a little bit.
Yeah, because you can't, they don't go inside the house.
Right.
And, you know, they don't necessarily see the neighborhood 100%. They don't understand the market. And, you know, if your house is unique in some manner, like I have a home that has 2 acres in Tarpon Springs. Well, there's not too many 2 acres in Tarpon Springs. And, you know, if you go on Zillow, you know, I'm putting that on the market. You can sell, if you can sell for what Zillow has for me on that market, you...
Hey, let's
I'll buy all the advertising. I'll just show you are.
I think he and Arnie need to talk after the show. I just think I got a new listing in Tarpon Springs at 2 acres.
Yeah, definitely.
And hey, if you know anyone out there that is looking for a home with 2 acres in Tarpon Springs, we might know somebody. You know?
You can sell it for what Zillow has on it. I will bow down to you.
No, I mean,
it's the truth. It's the truth.
Truthfully, customers, I mean, you know, you can definitely use Zillow as a tool. Truly,
It's a tool.
They're all good tools, but you know, it's just kind of like looking at it for listings. And now you get the information. You're going to know when a house comes on the market before Zillow does, and Zillow's information is going to be later. So that's why working with a realtor makes sense. But you know, it's very good for the off the side. You know, not really all ready to make that jump yet. Zillow can be a
and I think again, it's a great tool to look at properties. I mean, we do a lot of advertising on Zillow. I'm not going to lie. I mean, we advertise a lot on there. They get a lot of traffic. It's hard not to work with them because of how much traffic they get, how known they are, how many app downloads they get. But I just want to caution people to not take. Even Zillow itself has terms on there that state how off they are. You know, they know they're not an appraisal. They're just a guesstimate really. And in fact, the Zillow CEO Spencer Raskoff, this went viral this past week. I did post it on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/the Duncan Duo Show. He sold his own home for 40% below the Zestimate. So that tells you, so the Zestimate was that far off, for him to be able to sell his home for 40% off his Zestimate in about 8 months.
I'm sure it was like $1 million.
It was $1 million. It was $1 million property. I think the Zestimate was 1.6 or 1.7.
I mean, if you're in a cookie cutter neighborhood subdivision that all the houses are more or less the same, Zestimate's probably about right.
It's close, I would say, within 5 percentage points, because you're still going to have those upgrades. Sometimes it doesn't know if you have a pool. It doesn't know if you're on the busy road. It doesn't know condition. So I would say it's a good ballpark, but it can still be off considerably even with that. But I think it gets you closer when you're in the cookie cutter, newer neighborhood. When you're in an older community where there's a lot of different features of a home, I think that's where it starts to lack a little bit. Or different school boundaries, it seems like they mess up. When you get into New Tampa, Fishhawk Ranch, South Tampa, parts of Carrollwood, there's boundary differences where a house on one block can be worth drastically more than a house a block over. So
I think this is what I'm about to say is good for the consumer, but it's also good for the realtors out there. Is that you really need to peel back the onion on the comps and look at the comps, and don't be looking at the estimate per se. But what did the comps tell you? Is to have all the upgrades. Some upgrades don't add value. You know, some do. You know, does it have a pool? Is it next to a busy road? I mean, you got to peel back the onion. And quite frankly, right now in this market, the market is so hot. And I talked about this before, but I'll mention it again because we were actually, I predicted it about 6 months ago, and now it's really
Running into appraisal problems.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know what? That's a great topic for our next segment. We're going to continue the conversation. Make sure to check out our socials. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook by searching for The Duncan Duo. And we'll be back to continue this conversation on 970 WFLA after a quick break.